Good morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever you are or want to be in the synchronized universe. None of y'all know me, but hopefully we can add a yet to that statement. My name is Synchronized Kobold, and I'm a web graphic designer, video creator and editor, gamer, weeb, and community lurker. I've been looking into moving into content creation for a while, but I'm lazy. So with that out of the way, let's get into our analysis. Disclaimer, drama coverage won't be my main content, but more on that later. Now, I'm not trying to make a 15-hour suburban Caucasian analysis breakdown video on this shit, so let's go ahead and briefly summarize the situation. Just like Penacony's story, aka Peacony, our little situation here starts at the very tail end. Disgruntled editor has taken upon himself to air his complaints regarding his interaction or experience with a certain content creator, and has taken his complaints to certain gacha space subreddits, specifically Gacha Gaming and TechDone's Reddit. Someone airing shit out on Reddit already sets the bar for the caliber of person and the complaint we're dealing with here, as well as the entire situation, but let's set aside that sentiment for now. These complaints were in fact subtweeting, subreddit posting, certain upcoming content creator, GachaSmack. GachaSmack is a guide maker and theory crafter for multiple gacha games and has become a prominent upcoming creator following the release of Honkai Star Rail and now Withering Waves. We don't talk about or reference Genshin around here, that's not a real game. As for the nature of the complaints by Mr. Editor, his claims were that he lost his job with GachaSmack unfairly, as well as berated, underpaid by him, and was given an offer akin to slavery by overworking him. GachaSmack responded to these claims with hard facts that he was in fact never employed, was not berated, was not underpaid, and was not in fact offered an unreasonable workload. For more context, or if you really want to know the whole scope of this escapade, I'll be leaving the original video down below in the description because let's be real, I don't really need to get into the whole nitty gritty of the situation, and it's pretty much a cut and done incident at this point anyway. So, I felt the need to make this video due to GachaSmack's intuition calls, which were correct, and put a little bit of insight on why he felt that way, and what's going on behind this editor's situation, also to cash in on the hype and gain some following, but of course that's not the main reason. Another reason I did want to make this video is a warning, or better put, a guide. I'm a theory crafter now. For smaller content creators, or even larger ones that are not too familiar with this type of game. Now, to paint the picture, in India there is a lot of talent, and a large portion of this talent goes unnoticed due to the difficulty of finding it as outsiders, as well as the difficulty for this talent to either market themselves or getting in touch with people on the outside. It's not uncommon for talent across the world to have difficulty getting themselves out there because, well, they've invested all their time into honing their talents. Hi, I'm a graphic and web designer as well as a video and content creator / editor. With over 10 plus years of experience, I'm looking for work. This video is in no way an ad for me to push my services as an editor or graphic designer. To either solve or even take advantage of this issue, take your pick really, a lot of people in Asian countries have created these companies known as software houses. For the first worlders, imagine a software / design / whatever agency, but with the backdrop of an overcrowded customer service call center with John taking calls, but you can't understand him for some weird reason. What these software houses do is find these talent, usually scouring university records or finding them by word of mouth, and hire them at what would normally be a reduced rate in order to get their names and talents out there. Now, this isn't always a bad thing for a couple of reasons. Mainly because of the amount of people they hire, it's not always that they overwork these guys' talents. The main problem is that these software houses pitch for as much work as they can, then have an insane amount of work to finish, and mismanage and miscalculate the amount of people they needed to hire. Now, it's not a completely bad idea to hire these companies. The only problem is that they're not entirely honest when you're hiring them. But before we go into how to suss out these types of situations, let's first break down why you should and or shouldn't go with these types of places, depending on your situation. Man, I clearly love breakdowns so damn much! Yeah, we're doing a pros and cons list. There's always reasons to and always reasons to not, and sometimes it's dependent on your situation or the type of work you need done. Usually these software houses are mainly for programming and developing, or SEO or other more straightforward, cut and dry type of work. But as we could tell by our little situation here, as well as my own experiences, there are content creation houses as well. I just think that they use the term software house in general. Sounds better anyway. Content creation houses sound more like dwellings for TikTokers or something else, I don't know. Depending where you are in the world, your time zone can differ greatly depending on your location in comparison to theirs. This can be an issue depending on your viewpoint, however due to the difference it can be a big pro too. Say you want your videos out at a certain time after viewing your demographics and highest traffic moments. Well, there's going to be someone on at the time to get that shit out due to the amount of people they have on hand. More than likely you'll have someone to speak to 24/7. Might not be the same person, but as long as it's the same guy actually making / editing your videos and keeping that consistent, who cares who else does the non-creative work, am I right? So, let's say you're running multiple different types of videos / programs on your channel. You want each one to have a certain and/or unique editing type. Luckily for you, you've got a plethora of options to choose from, and probably at no extra cost. Say you've negotiated for a certain amount of videos a month, say 30, totally not related to our drama, I swear. But that's 15 basic bitch-ass Twitch cut-ups and 15 specialty videos just for YouTube. You can get a unique guy on both of those video types without going through the hassle of hiring someone else. Naturally, as you're basically working with the company loosely, you're likely to be able to negotiate with them a much larger capacity of videos and content in comparison to working with a single editor. There's really no short supply of talent, and even if someone leaves or gets fired from their position in the software house, they will likely come up with a replacement as soon as possible. Whether that's talent you're willing to go with or not is a whole nother story. As these software houses upscale the amount of work they bring in, and hopefully more employees, they have the unfortunate habit of constantly bargaining for higher wages and/or different payment plans. As we could see in a GachaSmack's or GachaSmack's video, we have a prime example of this. It's also pretty much textbook that they'll act like something isn't a problem, i.e. doing work for free, but complaining about it later. To counter this, you'll pretty much have to strictly assert from the very beginning that prices are final, or the percentage that they gain is set to increase at certain points in the future. I mean, literally just give them a calendar or a milestone for this kind of stuff. So, you've been going well. You've got your guy who does your content just the way you like it. Your brand is consistently on point. He leaves, you've been assigned a new guy and he's got a completely different style of editing. You both work together to get the content back on brand and it's just not quite what it used to be. Obviously this is an issue to face whenever you hire an agency for creative work as well, but the chance of this is definitely higher when you're hiring one of these software houses. While this can be an issue, it really comes down to how these types of issues can affect your conscience. If you're worried about overworking, bad working environments, and lack of wage distribution down to your assigned employee, this can be an issue for you. While there are questions you could ask before hiring that allow you to ascertain what type of working environment you're looking at, there isn't a way to 100% know for sure you're dealing with a squeaky clean company. So that's a risk you'll just have to continue monitoring over time. Alternatively, you can just be an asshole and just not give a fuck about what's happening over there. I mean, like, really, that's surely their own problems to deal with, am I right? Ah yes, the language barrier. While English is commonly taught in a reasonable amount of schools and is a necessity to do college and university, a lot of the time the finer details is just lost in translation due to someone who doesn't use it on a daily basis. But a lot of this can be sorted out by breaking down your inquiries or instructions and repeating them multiple times. Or sometimes it's not even the language barrier. Sometimes they just don't clue you onto things you'd wished you were clued up on. Like they think to themselves, yeah, he'd probably want this done. Or he doesn't need to know this, it's not necessary for him. Or yeah, he probably knows already. Insane. No, I did not want a firing by laser reference in 2024. No, I would want to know what you planned on posting beforehand. No, I did not know you were going to post all 7 weekly videos at once because that works for news channels. So at this point, I think you've pretty much decided whether you want to go with these types of companies or don't. Now, how do you know when these guys come to you? It could very well be just a singular gentleman looking for freelance work online. Well, don't you worry, because there are in fact some questions you can ask to know what you're dealing with. First off, you're going to want to know if you're dealing with one of these software houses right here. If you're getting contacted by one, you're likely in contact with basically a pencil pusher, the guy who does the callouts. These guys could easily be exposed by asking questions or proposing ultimatums that they themselves are unable to answer due to either a lack of knowledge or they're not high up enough on the totem pole to make those calls. You can state prices, varying numbers, work amounts, etc. But after stating these things, come back to the conversation after a little while and change it up on the fly. If they're reserved and not too forthcoming, or take a while to get back to you despite interacting with you the entire time, then you've most likely got your software house. Alternatively, you could just go the full honest route and ask questions like, are you a group of people? What talents do you have access to? And how many people have access to the source files that you'll provide? If they're hesitant to respond, or respond very defensively, or just outright disappear, you've got them. While it is pretty rare, there isn't a 0% chance that they won't respond in the negative. If they say, yeah, we're a group of guys slash software house, but we're all good at what we do, I think it's a great sign on their part that they're showing honesty, and I'd say give them a go. But if you're fine with them being secretive about their group status, or they actively told you that they are a group, a couple other questions to ask would be about wage distribution, as well as who you'll be contacting from among the employees, and you're good to go on as if you're hiring an agency. Yeah, so I'm gonna be real for a moment. I don't even believe that the guy actually used his real name in this whole GachaSmack drama. Not exactly something to fault him for, considering he already has a massive rap sheet, but still it's funny to me. I've been on both sides of the fence, someone who's hiring a software house and someone who's been approached to be sold a software house. It's not always bad, but I feel like it's something a lot more people should be aware of, and that need prompted me to make this video. Whether you plan to use one or not, you should have the knowledge to be able to make that call yourself, especially when it comes down to paying money for a service. Although, in the end, I feel like there isn't too many choices. It basically comes down to a choose your fighter! And there isn't really a problem with that. We'll stick to what we do best. By the way, I'm all 3, so you should hire me for the maximum amount of profit per spend. I hope everyone has enjoyed this video and learned something today. Probably nothing good, but hey, knowledge is knowledge. You're now officially burdened. I probably won't do another video like this one, aka related to drama, anytime soon. Unless it's something I can relate to, I'll be looking into posting stupid videos related primarily to gacha games and anime. So if you could drop a like and subscribe, shit could go a long way.